Weak people revenge, strong people forgive, intelligent people ignore. The difference between stupidity and genius is that genius has its limits. The only thing more dangerous than ignorance is arrogance. The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. There is no vaccine against stupidity. Don't listen to the person who has the answers. Listen to the person who has the questions. Information is not knowledge. The only source of knowledge is experience. You need experience to gain wisdom. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Everything that exists in your life does so because of two things: something you did or something you didn't do. The more I study science, the more I believe in God. Success comes from curiosity, concentration, perseverance, and self-criticism. Blind belief in authority is the greatest enemy of truth. The height of stupidity is most clearly demonstrated by the individual who ridicules something he knows nothing about. If you want different results, do not do the same things. Just because you believe in something does not mean that it is true. Failure is success in progress. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or objects. Do you believe in miracles? Well, you should. In fact, life itself is a big miracle. There are so many things that are beyond our understanding. There are two ways to live. You can live as if nothing is a miracle. You can live as if everything is a miracle. Be a voice, not an echo. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. We cannot get to where we dream of being tomorrow unless we change our thinking today. Women always worry about things that men forget. Men always worry about things women remember. Mankind invented the atomic bomb, but no mouse would ever construct a mousetrap. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagination is the language of the soul. Pay attention to your imagination and you will discover all you need to be fulfilled. The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. Thinking is hard work. That's why so few do it. You can't use an old map to explore a new world. A clever person solves a problem. A wise person avoids it. Don't wait for miracles. Your whole life is a miracle. Live life to the fullest. You have to color outside the lines once in a while if you want to make your life a masterpiece. Laugh some every day. Keep growing, keep dreaming, keep following your heart. The important thing is not to stop questioning. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. Insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Experience is knowledge, all the rest is information. Intelligence is not the ability to store information, but to know where to find it. Logic can take you from point A to point B. Imagination can take you wherever you want. A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. Don't let your brain interfere with your heart. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Three great forces rule the world: stupidity, fear, and greed. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Make everything as simple as possible, but not simpler. If one day you have to choose between the world and love, remember this: if you choose the world, you'll be left without love. But if you choose love, with it you will conquer the world. Everyone knew it was impossible until a fool who didn't know came along and did it. Once you stop learning, you start dying. Only two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the former. Be a loner. That gives you time to wonder, to search for the truth. Have holy curiosity. Make your life worth living. God did not create evil. Just as darkness is the absence of light, evil is the absence of God. Condemnation before investigation is the highest form of ignorance. Success equals 1 part work plus 1 part play plus 1 part keep your mouth shut. There comes a point in your life when you need to stop reading other people's books and write your own. I don't need to know everything. I just need to know where to find it when I need it. Knowledge is realizing that the street is one way. Wisdom is looking in both directions anyway. Genius is making complex ideas simple, not making simple ideas complex. Men marry women with the hope they will never change. Women marry men with the hope they will change. Invariably, they are both disappointed. Any fool can know. The point is to understand. Creativity is seeing what others see and thinking what no one else has ever thought. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Never do anything against conscience, even if the state demands it. I'm more interested in the future than in the past, because the future is where I intend to live. I'm more interested in the future than in the past, because the future is where I intend to live. Artificial intelligence is no match for natural stupidity. I have only 2 rules which I regard as principles of conduct. The first is, have no rules. The second is, be independent of the opinion of others. A ship is always safe at the shore, but that is not what it is built for. I must be willing to give up what I am in order to become what I will be. 3 rules of work. Out of clutter find simplicity. From discord find harmony. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. When you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That's relativity. Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. Knowledge and ego are directly related. The less knowledge, the greater the ego. I am neither especially clever nor especially gifted. I am only very, very curious. When the solution is simple, God is answering. If you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. The mind that opens to a new idea never returns to its original size. The woman who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd. The woman who walks alone is likely to find herself in places no one has ever been before. The true definition of madness is repeating the same action over and over, hoping for a different result. Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. Never underestimate your own ignorance. I believe we are here to do good. It is the responsibility of every human being to aspire to do something worthwhile, to make the world a better place than the one we found. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge but imagination. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. You do not really understand something unless you can explain it to your grandmother. Don't listen to their words. Fix your attention on their deeds. You never fail until you stop trying. Student is not a container you have to fill, but a torch you have to light up. Live with purpose. Don't let people or things around you get you down. Most people see what is and never see what can be. Logic will get you from a to be. Imagination will take you everywhere. There is a driving force more powerful than steam, electricity, and nuclear power: the will. Persistence is the most powerful force on earth. It can move mountains. At least once a day, allow yourself the freedom to think and dream for yourself. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. The only mistake in life is the lesson not learned. If I had only 1 hour to save the world, I would spend 55 minutes defining the problem and only 5 minutes finding the solution. When you trip over love, it is easy to get up, but when you fall in love, it is impossible to stand again. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. The world is in greater peril from those who tolerate or encourage evil than from those who actually commit it. The press, which is mostly controlled by vested interests, has an excessive influence on public opinion. A bartender is just a pharmacist with a limited inventory. Adversity introduces a man to himself. If the bee disappeared off the surface of the globe, then man would have only 4 years of life left. No more bees, no more pollination, no more plants, no more animals, no more man. A great thought begins by seeing something differently, with a shift of the mind's eye. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Nothing happens unless something moves. I refuse to engage in an intellectual battle with an unarmed man. Matter is energy. Energy is light. We are all light beings. I have made the Bhagavad Gita as the main source of my inspiration and guide for the purpose of scientific investigations and formation of my theories. Many of the things you can count don't count. Many of the things you can't count really count. How many people are trapped in their everyday habits, part numb, part frightened, part indifferent? To have a better life, we must keep choosing how we are living. Those who manage their way into a crisis are not necessarily the right people to manage their way out of a crisis. Be kind to people who are different from you. Time is not at all what it seems. It does not flow in only one direction, and the future exists simultaneously with the past. Outer changes always begin with an inner change of attitude. Know where to find the information and how to use it. That's the secret of success. Do not grow old, no matter how long you live. Never cease to stand like curious children before the great mystery into which we were born. The best design is the simplest one that works. The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. Never memorize what you can look up in a book. The individual who has experienced solitude will not easily become a victim of mass suggestion. Compassionate people are geniuses in the art of living, more necessary to the dignity, security, and joy of humanity than the discoverers of knowledge. It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. More the knowledge, lesser the ego, lesser the knowledge, more the ego. Creativity is intelligence having fun. Stupidity is a personal achievement which transcends national boundaries. People like us who believe in physics know that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Remember today, for it is the beginning of always. Today marks the start of a brave new future filled with all your dreams can hold. Think truly to the future and make those dreams come true. The minority, the ruling class at present, has the schools and press, usually the church as well, under its thumb. This enables it to organize and sway the emotions of the masses and make its tool of them. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. Earth is the insane asylum of the universe. Those who have the privilege to know have the duty to act. We can understand almost anything, but we can't understand how we understand. Imagination is more important than knowledge. If at first the idea is not absurd, then there is no hope for it. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. The ideas that have lighted my way have been kindness, beauty, and truth. When I have 1 week to solve a seemingly impossible problem, I spend 6 days defining the problem. Then the solution becomes obvious. It may be possible to fight intolerance, stupidity, and fanaticism separately, but when they come together, there is no hope. When I read the Bhagavad Gita and reflect about how God created this universe, everything else seems so superfluous. All conditions and all circumstances in our lives are a result of a certain level of thinking. If we want to change the conditions and circumstances, we have to change the level of thinking that is responsible for it. Everything you can imagine, nature has already created. If you want to know the future, look at the past. I came to America because of the great freedom which I heard existed in this country. I made a mistake in selecting America as a land of freedom, a mistake I cannot repair in the balance of my lifetime. It is entirely possible that behind the perception of our senses, worlds are hidden of which we are unaware. If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. I often think in music. I live my daydreams in music. I see my life in terms of music. Everyone should be respected as an individual, but no one idolized. Nothing causes more consternation in a group of hypocrites than one honest man. Concerning matter, we have been all wrong. What we have called matter is energy, whose vibration has been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. There is no matter. You have to learn the rules of the game, and then you have to play better than anyone else. The most important thing is to not stop questioning. One should not pursue goals that are easily achieved. One must develop an instinct for what one can just barely achieve through one's greatest efforts. Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty. The value of a college education is not the learning of many facts, but the training of the mind to think. Matter is spirit reduced to point of visibility. Paper is to write things down that we need to remember. Our brains are used to think. Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. The dog is very smart. He feels sorry for me because I receive so much mail. That's why he tries to bite the mailman. The only source of knowledge is experience. There's a genius in all of us. The world is not threatened by evil people, but by those who allow evil to take place. The intellect has little to do on the road to discovery. There comes a leap in consciousness, call it intuition or what you will. The solution comes to you, and you don't know how or why. I never allow myself to become discouraged under any circumstances. The three great essentials to achieve anything worthwhile are: first, hard work; second, stick-to-itiveness; third, common sense. Have the courage to take your own thoughts seriously, for they will shape you. We are part of the whole, which we call the universe, but it is an optical delusion of our mind that we think we are separate. This separateness is like a prison for us. Our job is to widen the circle of our compassion so we feel connected with all people and situations. Past is dead, future is uncertain. Present is all you have, so eat, drink, and live merry. The state is made for man, not man for the state. That is to say, the state should be our servant and not we its slaves. The important things are always simple. Life isn't worth living unless it is lived for someone else. There is only one road to human greatness, through the school of hard knocks. I believe in intuitions and inspirations. I sometimes feel that I am right. I do not know that I am. Imagination is the highest form of research. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. If we knew what it was we were doing, it would not be called research, would it? It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. Truth is what stands the test of experience. The thinking that got us to where we are is not the thinking that will get us to where we want to be. Everyone has two choices. We're either full of love or full of fear. I think 99 times and find nothing. I stop thinking, swim in the silence, and the truth comes to me. There's no question dolphins are smarter than humans as they play more. It is better to believe than to disbelieve. In doing, you bring everything to the realm of possibility. Solitude is painful when one is young, but delightful when one is more mature. Look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better. If you can't explain something simply, you don't know enough about it. Life is a preparation for the future, and the best preparation for the future is to live as if there were none. Once we accept our limits, we go beyond them. I never think of the future, it comes soon enough. The only thing we can be certain of in this life is that we can be certain of nothing. Out of clutter, find simplicity. I admit that thoughts influence the body. Never regard study as a duty, but as the enviable opportunity to learn. God reveals himself in the orderly harmony of what exists. Try first to be a man of value, success will follow. A thought that sometimes makes me hazy, am I or are the others crazy? Highly developed spirits often encounter resistance from mediocre minds. Genius abhors consensus because when consensus is reached, thinking stops. Stop nodding your head. The devil has put a penalty on all things we enjoy in life. Either we suffer in our health, or we suffer in our soul, or we get fat. The most precious things in life are not those you get for money. Albert is a very poor student. He is mentally slow, unsociable, and is always daydreaming. He is spoiling it for the rest of the class. It would be in the best interests of all if he were removed from school immediately. Here's a challenge. Study a complicated topic in such detail that anyone interested can nod their head and understand as you explain specific concepts within the topic. One should never impose one's views on a problem. One should rather study it, and in time a solution will reveal itself. Future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies. You can't solve your problems by using the same thinking that got you into those problems in the first place. If you have never failed, you have never tried anything new. To be free means to be independent, not to be influenced by what others think and say. Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted in important affairs. You might as well not be alive if you're not in awe of God. I was originally supposed to become an engineer, but the thought of having to expend my creative energy on things that make practical everyday life even more refined, with a loathsome capital gain as the goal, was unbearable to me. When you examine the lives of the most influential people who have ever walked among us, you discover one thread that winds through them all. They have been aligned first with their spiritual nature, and only then with their physical selves. I live in that solitude which is painful in youth, but delicious in the years of maturity. I am content in my later years. I have kept my good humor and take neither myself nor the next person seriously. I speak to everyone in the same way, whether he is the garbage man or the president of the university. The truth of a theory can never be proven, for one never knows if future experience will contradict its conclusions. The greater the doubt, the greater the awakening. I do not believe in the God of theology who rewards good and punishes evil. My God created laws that take care of that. His universe is not ruled by wishful thinking, but by immutable laws. Every day I remind myself that my inner and outer life are based on the labors of other men, living and dead, and that I must exert myself in order to give in the same measure as I have received, and am still receiving. The tragedy of life is what dies in the hearts and souls of people while they live. To obtain an assured favorable response from people, it is better to offer them something for their stomachs instead of their brains. Peace comes through understanding. It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. The important thing is to not stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. Where there is love, there is no imposition. We act as though comfort and luxury were the chief requirements of life. All that we need to make us happy is something to be enthusiastic about. The main task of the Spirit is to free man from his ego. Scientists investigate that which already is. Engineers create that which has never been. Weak people revenge.